se me baja con esto, ya te digo. Pero no importa. Vamos a ir acá. Bueno, ¿qué es lo que vemos hoy, chavalitos? Daily alcistas. Abrimos con gap alcista. Oh my god. Abrimos con gap. Abrimos con gap alcista. Lo tomamos todo. Otras no. Tomamos un orden, lo que no tiene mucha importancia. Una hora tomamos el bici y estamos subiendo. Trial conclusive, like basket. No hay estructura acá, no hay bici, no hay civi, no hay displacement. Leaning, leaning soda Fento, fantasizing that's not love your in is more like compromising. Bueno, acá que vemos en el bici de una hora, hacemos un failure swing. Lean into me. Ahora voy a hacer el vete. Lean into me. Hacemos change in state, respetamos, bici, subimos. Así que tenemos este orden loco acá. We pray, we get up, pretty rough, chala Virginia Beach. Vamos a venir y subir. Chuposana Jubilee. Federer, you was a pain on me. I wanna get back to the Major League. Yo veía que acá tenemos bastante salsa ahí. Sí, mucha salsa ahí. Mr. Low. Acá, algún día tenemos que tomar esta salsa. Pero bueno, este yo Fed bastó. Mira. Change in state, propulsion block. Love your rain, it's more like compromising. I'm... RTH no tenemos mucho. Una hora es RTH salsa. Lean into me. Qué quilombo esto. Lean into me. Esto vamos a dejarlo acá nada más. ¡Ah! Me gusta, sí, es más de 40 handles. Tiene más sentido. Viernes sin noticias, así que chill. Mae. Más de 40 handles alcista. Well, I'll make a friend. www. Put up, baby. Ask me how I would have treated you better, but nope. Not at all. Not at all. I bet you. Le voy a poner el límite de techo de TP que es. Ah, igual creo que se me debe salir sola, así que está bien. Pero no se estaba mostrando las credenciales, no. Ok. Bueno. Terrible. Directly to the voice area waiting. We are in Amta High, bro. Es lo que veía un bici de 15 minutos después del changing state. Sería el verde. Ya no hay nada para hacer. Y sí, liquidez contraria toma. El primer que toma liquidez contraria. Sí. 30 displacement represented. Tan, 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 tan. 31 es big. Fa. Ya cumplió con el bias. No me hacen mal. Qué locura. O sea, propulsion block al tic. Aparte hizo if, closeó de vuelta por encima del new opening up, lo retesteó, subió. Tremendo. Ah, entrada ahí tengo Ah, no, está cerrado. Miren los últimos viernes. Porque hoy estoy tan tranquilo. Además, hoy casi no traigo break even. Ah, estoy sin plata. Break even. Perdí. Plata. Ah. Sí, pero en la cuenta no. Break even puse acá. Te- te- Tenía un buen price action. No, no es una locura. Tiene muy buen price action acá como para un buen entry. Quiero ver el trade bait un cachito acá en el coso. El lucid. A ver cómo fue el último viernes. Perfecto, estamos 25 quick. 25 quick. Ya está, no hay nada para hacer. Wow, amigo. Cuando marqué esto, ¿en qué precio estábamos? 27, 724, 760, 780, 790, what the fuck. Lo único que queda es esperar BC 15. Pa 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 pa. Yo tenía que terminar con lo del Excalibur o esto. Quiero hacer esto. Un trade malo, tipo con una foto. Un trade bueno. Y una mejora de esta, directamente. Después lo voy a mejorar esto. Entonces cada vez que abro el market, veo esto, ¿sí? Entonces ya sé que no tengo que hacer errores. Este bobo, por ejemplo, entrar en late OB es este trade. Vamos acá. Que veo que suele pasar. Em, acá. Este order lock. ¿Por qué no da entry? Porque ya, primero que nada, no estamos en el 50% abajo. Segundo, que este order block no tiene bici. Ese es el tema de que para mí, porque no dio short. Lo mismo que cualquiera que hubiese entrado en este order block, a menos que ponga el stop bien arriba. Si puedes en el stop acá pierdes, si te pones el stop acá pierdes. Porque no tiene CB. En cambio, este order block sí tiene CB. Puedes poner el order block más cortito hasta acá y va a salir bien. Yo me pregunto, ¿para qué sirven las guerras? Tengo un cohete en el pantalón. Creo que de mistakes. Charra, cha, charra, cha, 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 charra, charra, cacala, calinga. Taca, 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 ta, taca, 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 ta, taca, 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 ting, tiki, 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 tiki. 5 minutos. En este ejercicio, qué sé yo, pero me parece bien entrarle. Estamos muy lejos del 28. Buen number, sí, estamos re lejos de lo que es. No va a llegar ni de cerca al 28, run number. Fue un buen rally, pero raro, o sea, no está retesteado el 930. No está retesteado el Fair Presented. Acá dejamos un bug. Este es un CV bien pequeñito, pero lo mandamos higher. Recién este es el primer entry que nos da. O sea, que si tomamos la perspectiva, ni siquiera descontamos el 25%. tiene eso ahí, verde, rojo. LOL. No se puede hacer. Este sería el green one. Fumazo, amigo, ¿no? Daily bread. No pienso entrar ni en pedo. O sea, vamos a esperar primero que sea la vela de 1 hora así estúpidamente alcista. Que la vela de vuelta de la próxima. El próximo así. Acá de un entry y ahí nos vayamos arriba. Eso es lo que buscaría. Seguir la vela de 1 hora que sigue. 3 de manual este vale, ¿Sabes que lo estaba, mientras lo estaba viendo en desarrollo acá, estaba pensando en entrarle? Porque es de manual, boludo. Literal, bici de 5 minutos. El tema es que, no sé, yo no. Ahí va, una horita. Vamos a esperar que haga alguna horita. Tan, tan, tan. Hace mucho que no uso este cuadro naranja, literalmente es una banda, no uso este cuadro naranja. ¿Qué me gustaría? Que haga el bici acá. Que haga el IOFED acá. Y que esto suba nomás. Y que el IOFED venga a buscar este bici de acá. Que el peso suba. Que después venga a tomar el bici. Tome este orden bloque así hacia IOFED. Y que nos dé el patrón alcista. Eso es lo que voy a buscar. Ok, fly. Pam, pam. Tengo esto activado, ¿no? Esto. Bueno, ahora no están descabezados. Llegar al run number 28 run number. Acá un chavalín pregunta. Ah, lo estamos viendo. Literalmente se está viendo, ¿no? Sí. Yo no tomo Standard Deviation como PPD, esas cosas que hablan los pibes de ahora. PPD, que mierda, PPD. Me gustaría que acá deje como unos equal highs. Voy a poner el Trader Roundtable mientras tanto. World of Ritson Podcast. Vamos a apagar este. Acá. Vamos a.
area of interest. So when these area of interest happen where there's huge transactions, I usually mark out a zone or a line similar. And I want to see if I can automate that. So it's like less work I have to do. And it's like, okay, find a systematic way of that when that gets generated. And all I had to focus on is execution.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. So what I'm really gauging is that the strategy itself doesn't change, the edge itself doesn't change. It's more so maybe slight tweaks or additions that complement. Nothing drastic. It's more just complementary stuff, or whether it's adding an extra market or automation, or just understanding a bit more deeper in terms of those markets themselves. It is really interesting. Off the back of that, though, that getting to prop firms, in terms of prop firms, there's so many now, right? There's a lot more than there used to be, and so
Al
there's
pedo esto.
pros to that. There's cons to that, no doubt. However, one of the things with that is that the rules for each prop firms can be slightly different. So when you guys are operating across multiple prop firms, if you are, is that something you have to adjust for? Maybe not entirely change your strategy, of course, but are there slight tweaks that you have to make in order to, be able to fit that criteria that's necessary?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I really, I put prop firms in two baskets. I put a prop firm that has consistency rules, and I have prop firms that do not have consistency rules. And I adjust my contract sizing and my position taking based on those two things. If I'm hot on the day, I will stop here if it's a 30% consistency rule, but I will not stop here with a no consistency rule. I'll keep trying to uh, leverage my profit into more and more and more profit.
Nice. Yeah, and I fully agree with what he said. Another thing that I kind of categorize it is like, does the prop firm have trailing drawdown? Apex, Take Profit Trader, they have trailing drawdown, so you need to adjust on basically what he said, your size and how many trades you're taking per day. And for me, even when I was trading Apex, I would sometimes close out my positions before my take profit even got hit, because I just, those few times where it reverses right before you take profit, or it kind of pulls back into like a fair value gap or something, whatever the case may be, that can obviously ruin your trailing drawdown. So for me, I always close them out a little bit before my take profit even hits. More one-to-one R trades, especially getting above the buffer. After that, it's kind of fair game. I kind of play normal how I usually trade prop firms, but getting above that trailing drawdown definitely made me size down early on, and then continue to build that buffer after.
So what I do is when there's a lot of volatility, big like range in New York, I try to focus on no consistency firms, because for my strategy, when there's huge ranges, there's more opportunities, and that's when you can really capitalize on firms that have no consistency and have big days.
Interesting.
Yeah, for me, I'd pretty much bucket the firms that have very similar rules. Like, I'm typically copy trade, right? So I'm looking for firms that have very similar rules, whether it's straight to funded or trailing drawdown, and I'll try and trade those together. So when I was going on run at Apex, I really wasn't trading any other firms with that copier. It was just Apex because, again, like you were saying, the trailing drawdown, you have to be selling in the strength. You can't be letting it retrace on you. Um, but I guess when it comes to the consistency rule, I never really paid attention to it because let's say if I had a $5,000 day, well, for me, if I just delayed the payout, I just keep trading it until the consistency gets back under 30%. So I think for me, the biggest thing was just capitalizing on the opportunity. If it's a big day, I'll just try and go hit it out of the park, right?
Yeah.
Like similar to what Brian did. I mean, if you have that massive day, the idea is to just continue trading it until the consistency is met
Claro.
before taking the payout.
And it's crazy, as it seems like that is one thing I do regret not.
Sí, vamos a escribir también, ya que estamos. Y vamos a ponerlo azul. Nada, verde me gusta. Vamos a abrir este. Ahí va. Y dice. Vamos a poner el coso acá. Shady Cap talking about home runs trades. Let them let it hit. Let
Not doing is what you just said, is going above the consistency. Every day I was stopping it at 30%, 30%, 30%, and there's so much more left on the
Yeah.
table. I was trading my personal account and other prop firms, and I was like, damn, I wish I could keep trading these Apex accounts, and I wish I would have done that. Broke every single consistency rule, because at the end of the day, I knew I would get above it
And
anyway.
then you get the buffer.
Exactly, you get a huge buffer, and it's
Yeah.
even harder to blow your account. I think my August blow up though that I had 10 days before max pay. I know Kane, you reached out and stuff. Talking when I was up like 380K, I think, and I was 10 days to pay out, and I blew it all. That kind of made me hesitate doing that though, because I was doing that, and then once I took that loss, I was so below the consistency rule that I was trying to get back to it so quickly, and I ended up blowing up. So it's two ways to look at it. But going back, I think I would go the route that you're talking about, is just ignore the consistency, even on like Tradeify direct accounts, things of like you can get live accounts from, and good sized live accounts. I think you should go for it regardless of consistency.
Anyone have anything to say off the back of that?
I would say this, right? I actually really respect the consistency rule. Like for me, like trading prop is, there is obviously, we've said that there is like uncapped. Okay, fine, sure. Let's be honest, it's not uncapped. There are most of the firms have caps in some capacity. And if you're trading a funded account and you can get a $2,500 payout, I don't want to make 10 grand a day on that account. Like that's just a waste of my time, right? So for me, I'm trying to exert as little energy as possible to trade with that firm so that I can take the base hit and move on with it. I don't want to like push it too much. Like I have a whole ass live account where I can do whatever the hell I want, where I can just push and do and slap as many contracts as I want and leave it on for as long as I want. I don't want to let a trade run up too much or you know ruin a consistency rule, so then I have to like actually apply to correct it. I would say that the trailing drawdown rule, like yeah, fine. If a firm's got trailing drawdown, I probably babysit a little bit more until it's out of there. But after that, I don't really do that. Like the Apex accounts, I traded them separately. Like there was just no reason for me to trade other firms like at the same time. But then it allowed me to then get trade on Apex, move on to other firms and trade those firms. But yeah, I don't ever want to really like get into the point where I'm 2 days before payout and I'm at 80% consistency, or you know what I mean? Like I don't want that. I want to be as close to that rule at all times so that I'm preserving my energy and I'm not trying to push it too far.
Yeah, I think when you mentioned energy, right, it takes a lot out of you to try and have those big days. And not only that, it's affecting you emotionally because now you have these big days and you're expecting big days continuously. So I think it's smart to have base hits and have something that's attainable every single day rather than
Yeah.
having a big day and then a big red day, right? And then you're all over the place.
Yeah, like
I think it's
sorry, carry on.
no, I think it's important to have consistency. That way, you're at least not building bad habits. Now, if you're trading it for your plan is to have big days, right, and you've accounted for that, then it makes sense. But if you're just in there emotionally trading, big days, red days, it's going to have an effect on you long term. Let's say if props disappear tomorrow, I think it has a negative impact on your performance overall.
Yeah, I think like the days where I've had like monster P&Ls, I and people are like, "Hey, break it down for me." I'm like, I can't fucking think straight.
Yeah, yeah. Like I don't even want to talk to you right now.
I'm just like, I've been at this all day, you know, trying to manage this or not manage it or fighting with myself or keeping my emotions in check. When I'm out of that trade,
Yeah,
the
it's draining, right?
last thing I want to do is look at the chart, you know. And like I remember that feeling in that moment, and I apply that to all my trading now. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if I talked to you about it, but like after I had a massive run in
Yeah,
Apex, I burnt out
Yeah.
because the P&L swings were just too much to handle. And in the moment, I didn't really think of anything of it because physically I felt fine, but I think mentally it got to me, and I just had to take a break.
Yeah, and those P&L swings take a toll on you, right? Even when you're green and red, whatever. Like for me, even when I was having these big days, I was like, "What just happened?" Like I was sitting at my desk. Like when the market conditions are good, I trade all sessions pretty much, right? So during that week or 2 week stretch, I was like, 2 weeks passed by. I'm like, "What just happened?" Right? And I'm obviously excited and happy about my performance and things like that. But you need to take a step back. I think I took all of December and part of January off too, because I just needed to come back to a baseline and kind of reset, regroup, because it takes a lot out of you. And I'm not here sitting here complaining. Like, end of the day, I get it, you know, but it does take a lot, and it can honestly go into your physical side if you let, like, if you're so drowned or drowsy by the end of the day, you don't want to do anything physical either.
Yeah.
Right. So it kind of goes outside of trading as well, and I try not to let my trading spill over into like relationships, friendships, whatever. I try to keep that separate, but during those runs, sometimes it just happens, and you got to make sure you bring yourself back to a calm baseline.
Yeah, and to go off of what Kane was saying, he respects the consistency rule. I'm totally with that. For me, a prop firm isn't somewhere where I want to park my money. That's not what I'm trying to do. For me, a prop firm is something I can get a 20-30x return off of and go again. And, at the end of the day, if you have those big days, that's great. But most of the time, I would say even 80% of the time, base hits will get you where you need to be, where you can get that multiple of the money you spent.
It is interesting. Like going to you, Kane, you obviously there was large payouts before you had your run and hit that record at the time.
Yeah.
But it felt like one of the first times, if I'm not mistaken, of someone who documented it step by step on X. Like, what was the mindset to add this extra layer? If it might not have felt like pressure to you, but this extra layer, I imagine, of pressure of documenting this journey all the way up.
I had a plan, right? Like that was the main thing. Is like I was on a heater the year before, like trading futures, and I'd bought 10 accounts with Apex. Kind of got hit with the trading drawdown. Was like, turned them to PAs. Got hit with the trading drawdown. I was like, okay, I need to rethink this. How I'm going to manage it. Bought the 20. Kind of got out of the buffer like pretty quick. Built up a nice balance to the point that I'm just like, like everyone. If I continue doing this for however many days, I can make $1 million. It was like at the time it was just $1,000 a day for 70 days, and it was going to be like 700, 800K, whatever. And along the way we had a lot more, and there was some element of it to, I guess, brag, but also to keep me accountable, because like I kind of put it out there. If I kind of then just for whatever reason lost there, like that's a me thing. So like it kind of kept me on the straight and narrow. But it was fun, mainly.
What was it like for you in terms of once that payout did hit and you sort of ended this huge documentation and this run essentially?
Yeah, look, me and Carl did speak about it. It was me that spoke to him. I was just like, I said to him, like, towards the end, you're gonna feel burnout like no other. And it was tough, but ultimately for me, like I was on holiday when the payout landed. Like basically like
I was
just
too.
yeah, like I was I'd gone away for like a month and a half, and like I'd just come back and then the payout landed. So I had a break. Like I was at home when the payout landed. I'd just come back from a nice relaxing holiday in the sun. Like I'd got over that burnout and I was ready to go again. But like, how did it actually feel when the money landed? Like it it doesn't feel real in a lot of ways, but also at the same time, I don't think like I sat there and was like, oh my gosh, like I have so much money now, like liquid cash. Like, of course, it takes a minute to settle in, realize that the money's real, and you can do whatever you want with it. But at the same time, I just slowly realized that this is just like that's just a thing.
Yeah.
I didn't really. It wasn't like a big monumental.
No, for
thing
me
or
it wasn't,
whatever.
because I've always heard of stories of other traders making a lot of money in the markets and leaving with nothing. like them leaving in a body bag. And when we had a conversation with Peter Tuckman and David Green, they said they've had friends that were up 50, 100 mil and left with absolutely nothing. So when I see that money in my bank account, I have to protect that. It's not just like I've made it, because you're one bad decision away from blowing it up.
And I fully agree with him. That's the first thing I did when I got the payout hit, and I was like, okay, let me be smart about it. Set aside up for taxes. You want to be that trader who blows all their capital at the end of the year, and now they still have to deal with a huge tax bill, right? So for me, I was like, let me put some aside to the taxes, and this is where like the real journey begins, like protecting your capital, right? It's easier to make money than keep it, right? So for me, it was like a lot at one time. So I was like, okay, let me take like Kane said he went on a holiday. I took some time off. I was like, let me see what I can do with this, where I want to invest this into. What do I want to invest into different assets outside of trading, things of that nature. I did a whole rundown, and really was trying to make sure my emotions were at a neutral when I made any decisions, because I didn't want to do it at a high or a low. When I was neutral, when I was in my right mind, when I wasn't burnt out, that's when I started making decisions on what I actually want to do with my capital.
Yeah, I love what you said, Jade. When you talked about people having these huge runs and then at the end they have nothing. You know, as traders, we all kind of understand that lifeblood for us is the liquidity and how much capital we have to get back into the game when you have a bad day. You never want that black swan to take you out completely out of the game, because there's no way to actually get back. So you know, the great thing about prop firms is that your cost to entry is so low compared to your upside, you know, is so high. And that's really what I appreciate about this industry, is that it really gives everybody the chance to have that huge run.
Being one of the first seven-figure pay, or the first seven-figure payout in the prop firm industry on the futures side, did you have like an inspiration? Was it something that you planned, or was it just something that naturally took place through deploying your edge?
It kind of came from necessity. So I was in import-export business, and I lost $1.7 million in 2018 when the Trump tariffs hit. And so I sat there on a curb in Shanghai and I go, what type of business is there that I don't need a customer and I don't need a factory? And that's when I discovered futures and ultimately led to prop. But the reality of it is that I sat down and looked at making $1 million. You know, that was the number I wanted to hit. And I looked at the fact that if you look at 20 accounts, $416 a day is $8,333, and 120 days, you're at $1 million. And I put that on a spreadsheet and said in 120 days, I wanted to hit $1 million, and it took 82 days.
Wow.
So, and I think that's the critical thing, is that users, traders they need to put that goal out there a long ways. You need to put it out there 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
You don't try to do it in 2 or 3 weeks.
I mean,
The short
anyway. Yeah, well, you can't withdraw it anyway.
The short payout cycles actually are not working in traders' favor. You need to look long term, more realistic.
Yeah, when I started with Apex, it was one withdrawal every 30 days. I mean, that was forever to go.
True.
And then they did 2. So Vince, I have a question for you. When you did your run, did you have those huge days, or was it literally just $416 and then you're done for the session?
So anytime I hit the $400, I moved my stop to protect that. And if action came back down and hit and took me out, I was done for the day. So I always protected $400 and I protected $1,000. And my biggest day was about $54,000 across 20 accounts. But I always protected 400 and I always protected 1,000. So if it wanted to run more than that, it's fine, but I was not giving that back.
I love that. Yeah, that's kind of what I try to do as well, is at a certain point I have like a 30% give back rule. So at my highest point, if I give back more than 30% of that, I just kind of stop for the session, because I don't want that winner to turn into tilt and now I'm fighting, you know, I need to go back to where I was.
Which the trailing drawdown actually taught me to do that. It forces you to do that, right? It forces you to kind of trail, take the profit, bank the green, walk away, instead of just kind of letting things work out and see how the day ends up. You know,
Yeah. Me personally, I've used prop firms as not only an avenue to make money, but to educate myself and become a better trader. And I think I'm a better trader now because of the model. because before in my personal account, I didn't have any, guidelines per se. I didn't have a 10% max drawdown limit or a max trade limit or consistency rules or anything like that. So I didn't really have any rules that I was abiding by, and I didn't have any discipline. I knew I probably should have had it, but I think with prop, it at least forces the rules on you. So going into a personal account, you're probably in a better position and you can actually have that skill set to manage the capital, more effectively.
Yeah, I agree with Kyle. Like when you get into trading, there are no rules. You have to kind of create that on your own, especially if you're trading personal. You have to really create those. And one thing that really helped me with props is the DLL. And really, like it doesn't hard breach you like type of DLL, but like soft breach. Having that on a personal is so important, especially as Emil talked about, like a black swan event, right? So it stops you out before you can like a silver move, for example, right now, the way it was dropping last Friday, you like freeze up. There's moments where you just see like a 10% move and you're like, what's going on? That DLL forces you to get out before it's too late.
Let's take a break for a minute there, guys, because I want to tell you about our incredible sponsor, Alpha Prime, the first of its kind in the industry. Now, evaluation firms have been in the industry for the last few years and done absolutely phenomenal in terms of its impact for traders. As you can see here, through Alpha Capital and Futures, so many payouts to so many traders across the world. But now, for the first time, there is an incredible route for traders to become professionals and to trade live capital, and that's through Alpha Prime. So let me quickly tell you how it works. You could just buy a challenge on Alpha Capital or Alpha Futures. Doesn't matter which one. So Alpha Capital, you have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 challenges. On Alpha Futures, you have standard and advanced plans. Whichever one, purchase a challenge. Show consistency, build your track record, and then you can be invited to Alpha Prime. Alpha Prime, you will get access to live capital. You will get access to risk management and resources at a professional level. You will have a salary as a trader and access to trade on live trading floors starting here in London. This is the first of its kind, where an evaluation firm is finding talented traders
Oh, me
and
encanta.
then backing them with live capital and creating a route to professional trading. I am very proud to be sponsored by Alpha Prime. The links for both will be in the description below. Alpha Capital and Alpha Futures, use the code RIZ, 20% off all challenges. Link is in the description below. Now let's get back to the episode. Let's take a break for a minute there, guys, because I want to tell you about our sponsor,
Trade
Trade.
Chila.
By Ed and 20 description
Props really,
is in the description below. Now let's get back to this episode.
yeah. And one thing props really that I kind of transferred over to my personal account is pyramiding into positions. So not starting the whole position off with just one static, size. Really letting a trade, as it's working, I'm adding into that trade, and I'm also moving my stop below the previous entry. So that way, you can maximize your upside. You can take that base hit initially. You can maximize your upside, but also protect your downside as you're pyramiding into it. So props taught me that one. So
Yeah. Well, I have an interesting question to pose to the table, and again, whoever wants to take it first, feel free to jump in. But if, for example, you were in today's sort of climate within the industry, right, with the options that are available, but you had to start from scratch in terms of your funding and getting payouts, and you had 90 days to not replicate any sort of results in terms of like, getting large payouts, but getting consistent, getting some payouts in, what steps are you going to take? Like, what are the go-to steps that you would take to do that over a 90-day period? Anyone can jump in on that.
How much money do I have?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Let's say you had $3,000.
20 Apex accounts.
Are you?
with all the knowledge we have now,
Yeah, everything. Yeah,
Oh,
you,
no,
you,
yeah,
you
28
okay.
accounts for sure.
Yeah, I was say if it's someone who's starting off new, I probably would recommend something that's not a trailing drawdown because they're beginning. I feel like trailing drawdown is more for experienced traders. But if without knowledge, for sure, I was gonna go straight 20 Apex and
Yeah, I think it depends on the skill level. Like,
yeah.
let's say if I was starting over, and I guess depending on how many years of experience I would have, try and choose an account that is easy to pass, that, there's no, I guess, rules that are a little bit, I guess, against the trader. I'm not going to say trailing drawdown is against the trader, but in general, I'd say static accounts are much easier to pass. And let's say if it's the last $3,000, if you want to gamble your last $3,000 and go for it, I respect that. But I would probably go for like a static account and obviously take it slow. Maybe I can only maybe I want to split it up and not copy trade all of those accounts, right? Maybe I want to buy one account, pass one, get the payout, and then slowly start scaling up that
Yeah.
way.
Okay.
I'm actually totally with you. Well, I'm with you on that in terms of if I was to start off and I had a very limited amount of time and knowledge in the prop firm game, I would definitely do the one account at first,
Yeah.
get that return, and then start buying more. That's how you really maximize your spend and your return from prop firms in general. So say you fail the first one, the second one, but the third one hits, well, you still made 15 times your money.
I think it's also the level of threshold, the comfortability that you have to copy trade them. Because not everybody can copy trade 5, 10 accounts and be okay with it, right? When you have one losing trade, it's hitting all 5 accounts, and you have to deal with that, and you have to manage your emotions around that. So I think one account at a time. If I was just getting into the prop space, which essentially is how I started.
I'd say my answer based on me being me and me having $3,000. But I know Riz was getting at the fact that, like, if you're someone that's, coming to the prop space and you have, a limited amount of money, what should you do? Of course, you should trade, an account that is, averagely priced with really fair rules that favor, the trader. There's tons. You want to get daily pairs, you get TBT. You want to get, you want to scale up and move to a live account, you can pick anyone. So, like, I think, there are tons and tons of options out there. And of course, if you can get one payout with one account and you can do it consistently for,
Oh my
I don't know,
god,
let's
ahora
say
sí,
20
BC
days and get
15.
a couple of payouts behind you, sure, you can swing big and go for Apex, and deal with the trading drawdown because that is hard, it's not easy. Um, but yeah, there's just tons now. Like, when we got started, it was like Top Step, a few others, Apex. There are so many now that you can really, find a place that has rules that suits you. And if you don't find a
Me
place that
gustaría
doesn't
invertir
have
este.
those
Si
rules,
invierte
then
este, me
you
voy.
can deposit all of the money you would to them into your live account. Like, and if you don't like that, then maybe trading isn't for you.
Yeah, and just to go off that, we have so many great companies now that all pay and they pay, quickly. It's very odd that we would have like that bad apple. I mean, and when it does happen, everybody knows about it. But right now, a lot of companies in the future space, uh, a lot of them, most of them are good.
Yeah, I think we're spoiled, to be honest, because I've been trading since 2011. You've been trading for a long time. You've been trading for a long time. I didn't have access to capital like this. So I think right now it is easier than ever to get funded and to become a full-time trader just because there's so much access to leverage. Um, and yeah, there's tons of companies out there. There's great options. But I definitely think we're spoiled a bit.
Oh, there's no definite. It's 100%. Yeah.
And there's advantages to simulated accounts. Simulated fills
Oh, yeah, sure.
are the greatest thing ever. When you move to a live brokerage account and you start to learn,
Well, some people are taking advantage of the fills, though, right?
Yes.
Let's start doing 27 minis on silver. Yeah,
Yes.
right.
I mean, it's really difficult to take like I guess like the sim field thing is a CFD like byproduct. It is really hard for the average person to take advantage of CME sim fills
Yeah.
because all it is like the advantage there is just if you want to trade 15 at a level there's only one, you're going to get filled on all of them and it may react off that one. That's like the manipulation. You're not really doing anything else. It's not like you're sitting in the book waiting to get filled like everyone else. So a real book could only fill like 25%, but you could get half your position filled in sim. It's like it's way different. But let's be honest, 99% of people are never ever going to experience that problem. So
Do you think that, well, actually, an interesting question that's come up a few times in terms of how many of you are copy trading across multiple firms versus trading them individually?
I trade all my firms, so I copy all my accounts in one firm, but I never cross copy between firms.
Interesting.
So I have, whatever it is now, the numbers eight firms. I will do 8 separate groups of copy trading just because the risk of failure at that point is so low. If one firm fails, I will still have 7 that keep going forward. My whole thing is I just want one army to keep going forward. And if for instance, Apex, I had a bad morning, I'll have TPT that did amazing, and my return on that will be 40 times what I paid for Apex.
And I agree with what he said here. And I'll take a step further. When I'm trading a prop firm, I have a goal for the prop firm. For Apex, I had an uncapped goal. I was like, I want to get to my uncapped payout. For TBT is my next prop firm that I really want to scale up to and get like $1 million on their live account. So So I'm not only do I not I don't really trust copy traders because one issue your whole entire system could get messed up. I don't even trade multiple prop firms at the same time. That's just how I've always been. I always focus on one prop firm until I reach the goal I want to
Bajitovic,
reach.
mal,
I'm
¿eh?
not leaving a lot of money on the table by not trading, let's say Top Step and TPT at the same time. But for me, mentally, that's just better for me is just trading one single prop firm, focusing on that, hitting my goal, and then I move on to the next one. And if there's no end goal with the one, like let's say take profit trader, then it's gonna cut me off
acá.
or anything like that because it's a live account, then I will just keep pushing that because I enjoy trading my personal live account the most, right? Whether it's options, whether it's futures trading, I prefer doing that. So I use a prop firm to get basically extra leverage, but I don't mix and match any prop firms. Just focus on one until I get to my goal, and then I can move on to the next one if they cut me off or whatever the case may be.
I was trading cross firms, but I had a limit. Like you don't want to be managing too many firms and then have to worry about all the different rule discrepancies. So at most, I was probably trading between 3 separate firms at a given time.
Yeah, similar to Emil, I don't cross firm copy trade, right? Copy trade with the same firm, but I don't. So if I have like 5 different funded accounts across different firms, I'll focus on like 1 or 2 for the day. I don't trade every prop because for me, I don't see that many trades. I try to take 2 or 3 trades on average, and if I'm trading more, I'm just over trading. Just personally for my strategy, there's not that many opportunities in a day.
Same really. I just trade all.
Ay, no me dio el
I
entry,
just use
¿puedes creer?
TradeAway.
No
Well,
llegué a entrar.
like Trade Copier uses TradeAway's risk send, so I'm just able to
Literalmente iría a entrar
pick how
con dos
much I
así.
want to, make on certain accounts on certain days or do whatever. And at some point, those accounts will get trailed out.
No,
based
me
on
dejó,
either
no
a
llegué.
bad day or a good day.
No
And it
llegué,
takes my
literalmente no
downside
llegué a
and
entrar.
upside, and then I just trade my live account. Again, I'm trying to trade a lot less this year. I'm trying to protect like a lot of energy, and I don't want to be logging into 5 different accounts because I don't want to blow them up. But if I blow all of them up for whatever reason, then I had a really bad time in my live account, and like ultimately, I'm trying to compound my gains. And okay, fine, I could be smart and try and avoid my losses, like avoid the losses or spread the losses out, and I get why people do it. I just don't have the energy to do that, and I can afford to do it ultimately.
How many of you have live accounts separate to your prop firm accounts, like your own personal life?
Yeah, I have a live account. I think it's at a certain point it's necessary because
Que veo también.
you have all
Marca me
this
quiero el
money
9.
coming in from prop firms, and you can also leverage
Arma
yourself much
universal,
higher
low
in a
risk
live
buy.
account anyway. I mean, with most firms, well, now a lot of firms don't have consistency rules, but they do have payout caps. And with a live account, you can just keep adding into a winning position and have those big outstanding days where you will get paid out that money no matter what.
Does everyone have a live account?
Yeah, that's all I trade is.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Mine's not like a large live account, just because I reset it. I'll keep like 50 to 100 in there, try and run it up, or withdraw it the same month or each quarter. But I typically don't keep a lot of capital in a live account, unless your goal is really to compound to, a large amount. For me personally, I just keep enough in there for margin.
Yeah, and I agree with you in keeping a certain amount because like one bad day, all it takes is completely
one black
wipe out
swan
everything.
event that you're not in control of.
Exactly right. So I only try to keep as much as I can stomach in one single day. Because I was trading my day trading portfolio. I was like, okay, I was trading with 500,000, and I took a step back. I'm like, if I lost this right now, how would I feel? And I don't think I
No,
could take this
esto es
loss.
And the thing is,
fumardo.
you don't need the 500.
Exactly right.
You're trading that size.
50 to 100,000 is perfect, and especially I like trading options. So that to me, taking swing positions, lead positions, that's all I need for my trading strategy.
Did anyone find when going from the prop firm trading only and then trying to start a live account, was there a sort of hesitancy or almost uncomfortable feeling to risk of a full risk on your own capital?
Yeah, I mean, of course it's uncomfortable. So like when you're taking a loss, that's actually negatively impacting your net worth. If you take a loss in the prop firm account, it's not until you blow the account, and yes, you have to pay for the challenge. But when you take a big loss, like I'm sure you've taken big losses, like it's actually impacting your net worth, and that feels worse, right? I think this is the whole point of trading a personal account along with prop firms, because the leverage, the capped downside, can't be beat.
Proudest moment for me was after I cashed out at Apex and went to a live account.
No sé si confío
I
tanto
took
en esto
5
también.
contracts and put a limit order on the chart, and I went to Bookmap and I could see my limit order on the chart, and I go, I am
It's
a
out.
liar. Yeah.
I've done that with TBT because if you have 5 accounts, you have 15 contracts. You're like, oh, look, that's me. That's overnight on the book map. 75 lots right there.
75 on gold. Yeah, I know.
But in terms of, as we've mentioned a few times now, there's a lot more options now. We're spoiled almost. But how do you go
Sí, tenemos
about
7 de
sort
acá
of
también.
with newer and newer firms coming along? Is there anything
Oficio
in
verde con oro
particular
lo que
that you
arriba.
need to really see before you guys would try something?
Que si respeta la
Because a lot of the
estructura del
times the
market
newer
maker es el
firms,
model.
obviously probably newer traders are the first ones to try them, and a lot of the experienced traders will probably sit back to maybe see certain things before looking to invest their capital in buying a prop challenge. Is there anything in particular you want to see from a firm?
For me, it's like if it's too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true, right? If I'm looking at a prop firm that's up and coming or new, I'm looking at the rules. Like if the rules are too easy and I feel like I can get max payout really quickly, then I would say this probably take a step back. For example, for me, top one, right? I was able to basically get max payouts. I'm the first live trader on their platform, and then they didn't do well after, right? I pretty much took their money, and I was telling everyone, I was like, I don't recommend trading this because I know at some point they're gonna pull some type of thing where either I can't trade the size I want to or anything like that because the rules are just too easy. And if you see them now, they're not really on those like top 5 prop firms or top 10 because they had to change so many rules because they made it so easy early on trying to get part of the market, right? So I always look at the rules. If they're too easy, then it's probably not going to be a good idea to invest your capital there.
I'll say it like this, using top one as an example, I actually skipped out on them. I didn't use them.
Yo creo que
And I
podría
regret
llegar a
it
este CB
because,
tranquilamente.
it was so easy and the money was
Me
just
gustaría más que lo
flowing
deje
in
como
and
break
everybody
away
was
up.
getting paid. And here I am thinking it's going to all fall apart. Well, I just missed out on 30, 40,000 just because I thought it was going to fall apart and everybody else was
Ok,
getting
en
paid.
los
So
require,
to that
order
point,
lock CB.
if it is too good to be true, most of the time it is, but you can still get paid from those firms. Now, now I don't really take on new firms. I just think I have too much on my plate currently where I won't really touch new companies anymore. But I think there is something to be said of taking advantage of a brand new company that wants to go to market and wants to kind of capitalize on on their
Ese
shit.
que los me
Yeah,
gustó.
you just gotta be. I feel like if you do it that route, you just gotta be self-aware that
Ahora
hey,
estoy
this might
escuchando
go
esto.
bad because they put me on a live account.
AG en el 52. Minuto 52. Minuto 52. Shit, no. I don't like that, bro. Voy a dejar esto por acá. ¿Cuánto le corté el cap? 60 también. Ah.